Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a new collection from one of my favorite brands, that is Oden'S. They released the new Jord'S collection and we have two new palettes to talk about today. Besides, of course, telling you how I feel about this collection, showing you the swatches of everything and trying things out, I am doing 4 looks total with these palettes. I'm going to do 2 looks with each. And besides eyeshadow palettes, this collection comes accompanied by jewels, so we will of course be talking about that as well. I'm super pumped because I love Oden'S eyes and these palettes are so freaking beautiful. I have not been able to help myself. You've been seeing me wear both of these palettes on my channel because I just wanted to try them as soon as I saw them, and so in the description box of my videos for the past couple of weeks you've seen an unreleased palette that is coming soon that I couldn't talk about, and this is it. If you're excited for today's video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up and let's go ahead and get started. The Oden'S Jord'S Divine Collection comes with 2 palettes. We have the Jewels and Gem palette right here, and then we also have the Stone and Rook palettes. These are both 15-pan palettes, each one of them with a very beautiful and unique color story, and they're each going to retail for $35.90. Now I do have a discount code with Oden'S. My discount code is PATTY10, so if you use PATTY10 at checkout, you will be saving 10% off of your purchase. Before we get into the palette, as I was saying, Oden'S is also releasing jewelry with this collection, and so I want to show you the pieces and the prices of those pieces, and I'll tell you my favorites before we get into the palettes. We have some things that are silver and some things that are gold. I am a gold person 100%, but I'll show you the silver stuff first. This is the Embellished Pearls necklace. It has these beautiful heart-shaped organic figures with like a pink stone in the middle, and then it is all pearls. The price of the necklace is $32.90, and then for $28.90 you can get the matching bracelet. Here's what the bracelet looks like. There's a couple different earrings that match that collection as well. These are the pink heart stud earrings, and you can get these for $25.90 right here. These next ones also match that collection. It is called the ear cuff and studs with chain, and these retail for $28.90. All right, here we go. Like I said, these $28.90. Take a look in detail right here at what the earring looks like. I absolutely love the pink cubic zirconias in there, and then the cuff is really pretty and it's got pearls in it, which will match the necklace and the bracelet. I think my favorite jewelry piece out of everything is the bracelet I'm about to show you, which I am wearing right now. This is the hard two-tone bracelet. This retails for $39.90 and I think it looks really pretty. I am particularly fond of like the opening and close mechanism for this one. It's really cute. This one right here, which matches that bracelet, is $25.90 and it is called the hard black necklace. I don't know how to say the word in the middle. In Spanish I think it's nácar, but I don't know how to say it in English. Nácar maybe? And then the earrings that match it, which I also put on today. So these are $28.90 and they are the hard stud earrings right here. Lastly, my favorite necklace out of the whole collection. I personally really love dainty things, and this one is only $20.90. So take a look at how beautiful that chain is, and I really love the pearl heart in there. And then the earrings that match that necklace are $20.90, and here is what they look like. Really pretty as well. Now I will say, obviously I'm not a jewelry review channel or anything, and I do really like some of the pieces. In particular, this bracelet right here and this necklace. I believe these 2 are my favorite pieces from the collection. If you are like me and you have piercings, these chunkier earrings might not be the best for you, because if I were to make this a little tighter on the ear, it would cover my second and third hole, and so it's not very comfortable there. I absolutely love these earrings here, but then when I try to put them on, they are supposed to go like this. I'll put a picture right here of what they're supposed to look like. It does not fit my ear either, because the piece that comes back up, this metal piece here, also covers my second hole. So these unfortunately didn't work for me either unless I take my piercings off, but that's kind of hard to do for a daily basis. I only like to change the one hole. The rest of them stay the same for me. So like I said, my favorite pieces, the bracelet and necklaces for sure, especially because I like little dainty things like these, so I do see myself wearing them. But unfortunately the earrings I just find a little too heavy, and then if you have piercings like me, the logistics of the earrings might not be the same. I was able to make these work, I think, which I really like, so take a look right there. But still, if I want to make them a little tighter on the hole, they would come up and cover the rest of my piercings. If you don't have piercings like I do, I think it is going to be a whole different story for you and you might love them. Everything comes in this lovely pink little pouch. I am always curious when it comes to jewelry as to like what the jewelry is made out of, and the description of these pieces that I really liked were copper dipped in gold, but all of the details are of course on the Oden's website. And even though this collection comes out tomorrow, you are free to browse the website already because the items are posted on there so that you can kind of browse through them. I just realized that the other necklace I like also perfectly matches my earrings and bracelet. I don't know why I didn't notice before, but this heart right here is the same heart as in that bracelet, and also the same heart as in the earring right there. So with that said, I'm changing my necklace. I really do love this white heart pearl thing. It's so freaking cute. Jewelry talk done, and I'm going to take this one off for when I swatch the palettes. First we have the Stone and Rook palette. Take a look right here at the beautiful outside of this one. And then once you open it, it has an absolutely stunning green olive color story. This palette has a really beautiful combination of mattes and shimmers, and I feel like it has a very cohesive color story too. You can't go wrong mixing any of these shades with one another. I feel like they'll all look really, really stunning together. And then there's the Jewels and Gem palette right here, which as you can see has a much more pink romantic vibe to the outside of it. And then once you open it on the inside, it's got the most stunning combination, not just of shimmers and mattes, but also I like that even though the color story is mostly cool-toned, there is a few warmer toned shades added in there for a little bit of contrast. I love the color stories of both of these palettes, so much so that at the moment I could not tell you which one I like better than the other, because I find that both of these palettes are beautiful and that I can get really stunning wearable eyeshadow looks that I'm into with both of these as well. So let's go ahead and get into the swatches. Maybe by the end of this video I can pick a favorite, we'll see. So the first palette I'm going to swatch is the Stone and Rock palette. The first shade is Fervor, which is a really stunning matte white shade. I had not seen a matte white shade in a palette in a long time, and I can tell you right now, I really appreciate that that matte white shade is in here. You will see why once I do my first look. The second color is called Freezy, which has this really stunning pearl-like finish with little teal duochromes in there. Then we have the shade Madness, which is this really stunning matte green, and the color Passion next, which is this shimmer green shade. Last color of the first row is the color Sheer, which is this really stunning forest green shade. Then we have the color Sheerfulness, which is this really beautiful warm mint type of color. Exuberance next, which is a true olive green matte shade, and the color Gleefulness, which is a really beautiful light gold. Next we have the color Jubilance, which is like a mustardy brown mid-tone shade, and the shade Lightheartedness, which is this really stunning shimmery brown. Dreamland is another beautiful olivey green matte. And then this next one here, I believe it is a multi-chrome shade, and it is called High Spirits. It definitely is a multi-chrome shade because you guys see only green in that one, but if I look at it from this angle, I see a blue-purple eyeshadow shade right there. It looks completely different to me than what it looks like on camera. Okay, so lastly we have the shades Elevated, which is this really nice dark brown, Splendid, which is a shimmery black, and Passage, which is a matte black. Whenever I see super deep shades like Splendid in palettes, I tell you guys that I'm most likely not to use them in that palette because I don't have anything to combine it with, but that is not the case with this palette because not only did they give us Splendid, they gave us the shade Passage, which is a matte black, which can totally go around that one in a really beautiful way. Oden's Eye makes really well thought out palettes for sure, and I absolutely love the color story of this one. You can see the quality of the shimmers as well as you can see the quality of the mattes in those swatches. I can't wait to continue to play with it because I already did one of my looks with this one. Alright, so let's move on to the swatches of Jewels and Gem, starting with the shade Ecstasy, which is a matte pinky purple type of a shade. Then we have Elatedness, which is the lightest shimmery pink shade. And this color Elation here, which is a really stunning mid-tone mauvey type of shade. Followed by Exhilaration, which is a really stunning shimmer purple with a black undertone. Heaven is a matte cool tone purple shade. Then we have the shade High, which is a shimmer mid-tone gold. Followed by Intoxication, which is this really dark beet-like purple. And in the center of the palette, we have the color Paradise, which is like a dark gray with really, really tiny silver sparkles through it. Rapture is this really stunning, very interesting shade. It's like between blue and purple, and it's not quite matte. It has more of a satin finish to it. And the color Rhapsody is the most beautiful multi-chrome shade. It has blue and pink and gold and silver in there. It's a truly stunning, very shiny color. Row number 3 starts with the shade Seven Heaven, which is this really stunning grayish green. And then another really light and creamy shimmer, which is called Swoon. Also a multi-chrome, I believe. It feels like a cream rather than a shimmer powder. Look at the pigmentation on the color Rapture after I did that swatch, and there's still all of this left on my finger. Last 3 shades of this stunning palette are the color Transition, which is this stunning blue-gray shade. Gorgeousness, which is a pewtery duochrome shimmer. And lastly, the color Zozzle, which is a really stunning burgundy. So take a look right here at the absolutely stunning swatches of the Jewels and Gem palettes. I love swatching the palettes not only to show you guys the color stories that the palettes have in them and like how creamy or pigmented the shadows can be, but also feeling the texture of the eyeshadows when I swatch them, and the depth of said shadow on my skin gives me an idea of what to use the different shades in the palette for. So when I first started filming this video, I didn't know what type of looks I was going to go for, but now that I've swatched both palettes, I feel like I know what shades I want to play with. So now that you've seen the swatches and that you know all of the details about this Oden's Eye launch, let's go ahead and start creating looks. I don't know what came over me when I filmed this first video, but for some reason I didn't talk through it, so I'm going to voice over what I did. Thankfully, this was the easiest of all of the looks. I combined the 2 shades that you're looking at on the screen, the green and the white, because I wanted a true transition color, something that was lighter even than that green, and I was in love with the shade I created. I just did equal parts green and white and it came out perfect. And then I just proceeded to darken up the outer corner of my eye with the green shade on its own. As you see, I'm not using REPHR brushes for this one. I was trying my Ariel and Morphe brushes, which I really like. Anyways, just darkened up the outer corner of the eye with the green, worked it into my crease, blended everything out to perfection. I loved the way this looked. For the center of my eyelid with the REPHR number 2 brush, I used that shimmer green that I am signaling on the screen and just added that shade all throughout the center of my eyelid. It is such a pretty shimmer shade. I absolutely loved it. And then for the inner corner with the same REPHR number 2, I went ahead and added the lightest shimmer shade that this palette has, which I love. For the under eyes, I went on with the same mixture of green and white that I had used for the top, and I absolutely loved the way that this came out. It is a simple look, but I just loved how soft it is. The lightest possible olivey smoky eye without it being a pastel. Super cute. And when I wore this in a video a couple of weeks ago, a lot of you were wondering what I had used. Let's go ahead and create a look with the Jewels and Gem palette, and I want to start with this shade up here because I feel like it's going to be a perfect transition shade. It's called Elation, and this is a REPHR number 15 brush. So with my REPHR number 15, I'm going to place the color Elation right on the crease of the eye, starting on the outer corner and blending it forward, because you always want to place your brush first where you want to have the most intense amount of color, basically. So back and forth here and slowly bringing it inwards. And now I'm going to blend out the upper edge, making sure there's no harsh edges with this one. And you know what? I think I want to darken it up a bit more. So once again, starting on the outer corner, I grabbed a bit more product and I am bringing it inwards. Just make sure not to put pressure on it, very softly. And I wanted to use this shade because it's warm and majority of this palette is very cool tone, so it'll make a nice contrast, I feel like. With the REPHR number 1, I'm going to get the color Ecstasy. And I want to run Ecstasy through the upper edge of what I just blended, starting on the inner half of the crease and then spreading it back. To intensify the outer corner even further, I was between the shade Zazzle and Intoxication here, and I think I'm going to go for Zazzle here. So I'm going to grab a bit of that with a clean REPHR number 1, and starting on the outer corner of the eye, I'm going to tap it on the outer corner and then just diffuse it into the rest of the colors that we already placed there. I'm pulling it up into those colors ever so slightly. That looks really pretty. Definitely dying to use the color Rhapsody right here, so I'm going to grab it with my finger and just take a look at the shine of this shade. It is amazing. So I'm going to add it to the center of my eyelid with my finger, just patting it in place all throughout the lid. Just tap it, tap it, tap it. With the REPHR number 1 that had the darkest color in it, I'm going to go through the outer edge of things. And then I'm going to grab a REPHR number 28 brush, which is a small flat brush, and the color Elateness, I think it is. It's one of the lightest shimmers from this palette. And I'm going to put it on the inner corner of my eye. And we're going to bring it in to define the eyelid area a little more. That looks so freaking good. So freaking good. I love it. For the under eye with a REPHR number 3, I'm going to go back to Zazzle, and I'm going to add it to the outer third of the under eye area. And then I'm going to grab the shade Heaven just to try something different on a REPHR number 13 brush. And I'm going to smoke out the under eye with Heaven. This one's just a bit more cool toned, but it's not that different from what we did on top. To finish up the look, I applied a lip liner in my waterline because I wanted that color waterline, and I don't have an eyeliner that matches that. So I've done this before. It never irritates my eyes or anything. It's the Rare Beauty lip liner in the shade Worthy. I put that one in the waterline of my eyes right there. And then I applied some mascara and some lashes. And this right here is the final first look with this beautiful Jewels and Gems palette right here. I am obsessed with how good this looks. I love the softer colors that come in here. I love that we still have nice burgundy shades to intensify things with, and I am a die-hard fan of the sparkle, of course, so obviously obsessed with how much my eyeballs are shining right now. Love this palette. Let's go ahead and move on to the next look. I really hope you enjoyed those looks, and for look number 3, we are going back to the Stone and Rock palette, and I have my REPHR number 15 brush ready right here. I think the first color I want to use is the color Jubilance. I want to do something different from the first look I created with this one. So I'm going to work the color Jubilance right here on the crease of my eye. I'm going to add a bit of it to the outer corner as well. So I'm stamping Jubilance on the outer corner and swiping it through the crease of my eye, back and forth. I think I want to use the white shade in this tutorial as well, so I'm going to grab Jubilance, just one dot of Jubilance, maybe two, with the white shade. And I'm going to add that mixture to the inner half of the crease of my eye so that we get a softer version of the shade Jubilance, and I'm going to also run that through the upper part of the crease. With the REPHR number 1 brush, I'm going to go into the shade Elevated, which is a really dark cool tone brown. And I'm going to stamp it on the outer corner of my eye. And with the tip of my brush, softly blend it into my crease area. The first look I created with this palette was very soft and green, so I want to go for something a little bit darker and smokier this time. So back and forth, I'm just blending. Now that I have my matte shades in place, let's get into some shimmer shades. So I'm going to get the shade High Spirits here with a REPHR number 2. And I'm going to glide that color right in the center of my eyelid and blend it back into the matte shades we used. I'm stamping it in place and gliding it back and forth a bit. Back with the REPHR number 2, nothing added, just whatever remaining color is on it. We are going to blend the edges of the green into the matte shades by running the brush over the edges back and forth. That is looking so pretty. I want to go for a light shimmer on the inner corner, and I was debating between Passion or Frenzy. I think I want to do Frenzy. I'm going to try Frenzy. This is a REPHR number 28 brush, which is a smaller flat brush. And I'm going to add it to the inner third of my eyelid here. It looks more like a light white shimmer than a light mint shimmer. So I'm going to add another color in the center of those two. Same brush, and I'm going to get the color Cheerfulness right here. That is going to be the shade in the middle of my two shimmers so that there is a bit more of a gradient between them. I'm taking Cheerfulness all the way to the center of my eyelid. And so here is the top of my very smoky green eye. I'll define the outer edge with a wipe. And for the under eye area, just to try a different color, I'm going to use the shade Dreamland. I don't think I've used this one so far. And so I'm going to add Dreamland to my under eye, just swiping it across right underneath my lower lash line. Back and forth with a REPHR number 3 brush. And with a REPHR number 13, I'm going to go back to Dreamland, but I'm going to mix it with the white shade a bit. And I want to smoke out the under eye of my eye with that mixture. So back and forth, REPHR number 13. A little bit more Frenzy to the inner corner of the eye. Frenzy was the color I had on the inner third earlier. Honestly, this looks so pretty. I need to use this olive eyeliner in the waterline of my eye. This one is from Too Faced in the shade Killer Camel. And before any mascara or lashes, here's the finished look with the Stone and Rock palette from Oden'S. Very different from the first look I created with this palette, which is definitely what I was going for. Before I put on any mascara or lashes on this eye, let's go back to the Jewels and Gem collection and create a second look with this palette over here. I want to grab the color Transition as my transition shade, and this is of course my REPHR number 15 brush, so I'm going to stamp that color all throughout the crease of my eye here. And once I have my desired level of intensity, I'm going to diffuse the shade back and forth on my crease. With my same REPHR number 15, I want to grab a bit of the shade Ecstasy to further diffuse the upper side of the crease right here. And to deepen things up with the REPHR number 1, I want to use the color Rapture. I feel like my first look with this palette was very what I usually do. So for look number 2, I'm doing something different. Shade Rapture, and we need to blend it into the crease. So back with my REPHR number 15, I'm going to blend that upper edge. I didn't want to blend it with the number 1 because it still has a lot of pigment in there, and I felt like I was just going to put it all over the place rather than blend it. So REPHR number 15, and I'm blending that upper edge into my crease color. And before we even go into any shimmers, I need to clean up this edge because it's not looking pretty. The color Rapture is extremely pigmented, so be very careful with it. The shimmer I want to use is the shade Rhapsody because I feel like it's going to be perfect for the center of the eye, but I'm trying not to use it because I already used it for the first look. I think I want to do a little bit of Paradise, which is this really dark pewtery type shade, and I want to put that one right in the center of the eye here. Yes, I think that's looking very pretty. With my REPHR number 2 and the color Gorgeousness, I'm going to keep going on my eyelid here, so on the inner half, but I'm leaving a space on the inner corner. And I'm just tapping that shade in place. And then on the actual inner corner of the eye, I'm going to use the shade Swoon. This is completely different from the first look I created with this palette. So here's one on the inner corner and a third of the way in. Honestly, that's looking fabulous. Let's finish up the under eye area next. And I'm just going to use the same shade as I did on top. So with the color Rhapsody and a REPHR number 13 brush, I'm going to smoke out my lower lash line. I grabbed barely any Rhapsody because I know how pigmented it is now. So I'm just back and forth swiping throughout my under eye area. And I'm going to grab a little bit of Ecstasy on the same brush just to further diffuse things. A little bit more of my inner corner shade to bring it down to my under eye area a bit. This is the color Swoon. And for my waterline, I'm going to use my Glacier eyeliner in Lapis, which is a deep blue shade. So take a look right there before any mascara or lashes are added at my second look with this palette. I really love the way that it came out. So I'm going to put on mascara and lashes, and I'm also going to do a blush and a lipstick, and I'll be right back to give you my final thoughts on this collection. I'm back and I finished up my makeup. I added some lashes like I said, and so take a look right here at the finished looks with both of these palettes. I really love the way that both of these came out, and I'm back to tell you my overall thoughts on everything. Touching back on the jewelry stuff, I don't see myself using the earrings that much, but I do really love the gold necklaces and the gold bracelets. So those things I do totally see myself using. So those are my recommendations when it comes to the jewelry. And as far as the eyeshadow palettes are concerned, I'm obsessed with both of them. They both have not only really stunning color stories, but also unique. I really love that with this Jewels and Gems palette, you can create some really nice soft romantic looks, you can create really pretty burgundy looks, or you can go a completely different way with it and create a blue smoky eye, which is what I did today. So not only is this palette beautiful, the formula's amazing, but it is also very, very versatile. This color story is fun, is unique, and is definitely different from anything else I have in my collection, so I really love it. And the same thing goes for this one here. I love green olivey tones, and I am obsessed with the fact that they added a matte white shade to this one, because I was able to get the colors that the palette already brought with it and slightly change them to like blend them out a bit more, soften them a bit more. And the only reason I was able to do that was the matte white shade right there. Besides that, the shimmer shades in this palette are incredible. Honestly, both of them have beautiful, beautiful formulas. There is not a dud shade in these. Every single shade is pigmented. It builds up beautiful, it blends out beautiful, and the shimmers have a great amount of sparkle in my opinion. Both of these color stories are very unique, and I see myself reaching for these palettes a whole lot. You can go very smoky, dark glam with them, or you can create really fun, soft looks. Honestly, I'm obsessed, and so of course I do highly recommend that you get both of these if you're interested. Remember at checkout to use code PATTY10 so that you can save 10% off of your order. If you guys like this video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up. Before you leave, let me know if you're getting both of these palettes, or if you're getting only one, let me know which one you are grabbing. Don't forget, if you're new here, to please subscribe to my channel before you leave. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you back in the next video. Bye.